It looks like the FTC has less and less of a case when it comes to blocking that Microsoft acquisition of Activision. And so that's what I'm going to chat about in this video. So guys, as you smash that like button, let me run that intro. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I did a video on this with a YouTube live, but the problem is that YouTube doesn't really push out live as much as it pushes out regular videos. And I think that's really just because regular videos have higher quality as opposed to the YouTube lives. And so I just wanted to make a regular video on this topic because I think it's very important. Now, there's two sections in this video. The first one is I'm going to talk about exactly what happened with the FTC challenging the Microsoft acquisition of Activision. And then I'm going to go into the European Union contradicting the FTC claims. And so let's dive right into this one. So you can see here that it was reported a couple of weeks ago that the FTC actually sued to block Microsoft's acquisition of Activision. And the FTC said that the reason why they're suing is because they believe that it will harm competition. And just going into the article a little bit, notice that the lawsuit effectively sets the stage for Microsoft to challenge the FTC in the courts. But this is what the FTC came out and said. They said that today we seek to stop Microsoft from gaining control over a leading independent game studio and using it to harm competition in multiple dynamic and fast-growing gaming markets. And so the FTC went on to say that Microsoft previously suppressed competition from rivals through its 2021 acquisition of ZeniMax Media Inc. And the agency said that Microsoft made several of Bethesda's games, including Starfield and Redfall, exclusive to its own platforms, despite giving assurances to the European antitrust authorities that it would do otherwise. And so pay attention to this point. The FTC is saying that Microsoft gave assurances to the European antitrust authorities that it would make these titles not exclusive just to the Microsoft platforms. And, you know, the European Union is going to come out, and I'll show that in a second, to say that this was not the case at all. And so the FTC went on to say that the Microsoft would have both the means and motive to harm competition by charging higher pricing for Activision games, degrading the quality of games on rival consoles and gaming services, or withholding content from rivals entirely. And so I just don't see this happening. I think the FTC really has to prove why they believe that this will happen and base it on actual events that have transpired. And thus far, the FTC has weak evidence. And so I think Microsoft crushes them in court, but we'll see how this plays out. And of course, you can see that Microsoft's vice president, Brad Smith, came out and said that while we believed in giving peace a chance, we have complete confidence in our case and welcome the opportunity to present the case in court. And so they are almost like happy to go to court against the FTC. And so this doesn't look good for the FTC. And so this is what I mean about the European Union contradicting the FTC claim. You can see that the European Union issued a response refuting a claim from the FTC's argument against Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And what exactly do they mean? And so here's what the European Commission came out and said. They clarified that Microsoft made no such commitment to keep the titles exclusive as part of the antitrust review. And more specifically, the commission explained that it cleared the Microsoft ZeniMax transaction unconditionally. And so that addresses the FTC specific claim that regarding Microsoft making ZeniMax Media games exclusive. The commission said that its review considered just such a possibility and decided that it would not have a significant impact on competition since other companies would still have a large array of content available to them. So this is where I believe the FTC has some real egg on their face, and you can absolutely bet that when Microsoft goes to court, they're going to be using this sort of refutation by the European Commission as an example of where the FTC sort of overstepped a little bit here. Now, the other thing that I do want to point out is that the real story is actually opposite. It looks like Sony was looking to have the game to become exclusive on PlayStation before Microsoft bought Bethesda. So this is an article that came out earlier this year. And so it looked like Starfield being released on PS4 or PS5 almost happened, with Sony reportedly trying to negotiate a deal with Bethesda or Starfield before the acquisition of Bethesda by parent company ZeniMax Media by Microsoft. And so in other words, Sony, who's, you know, the number one company or the number one complainant against the Microsoft acquisition of Activision, was actually doing the same thing. They were negotiating a timed exclusivity period for Starfield as recently as a few months ago. And so this goes to, original comment that I made when it related to this deal and Sony coming out and saying that it would harm them. Like, you guys are doing the same thing. You guys have a whole library of exclusive titles. So you don't really have a leg to stand on unless you're going to make all of your exclusive titles available to all consoles as well. Let's stop playing this game. It just doesn't look good on Sony to be the number one complainant in this situation. And I think that's part of the reason why the FTC, at least in my opinion, or at least kind of like what I've been reading, is going to find other people that are against this deal. I don't think they have a leg to stand on if they use Sony as the main people or the main entity that has an issue with this deal. And that's why I don't think that the FTC is going to win here. And that really will not look good on the new leadership of the FTC, because they're really trying to go after large companies making large acquisitions, especially in the technology space. But I just don't think this is the one that they should be hanging their hat on. And so overall, there look to be two refudiations in what the European Commission has clarified. The first one is that Microsoft did not lie or go back on a commitment. The second, and we just spoke about that. And the second one is the anti-competitive behavior that the FTC says that Microsoft wasn't honest about, wasn't anti-competitive at all. And so the real issue now that Microsoft can bring up is, does the FTC really even understand what happened with the European Commission? And so, what it really does is it shows that you might not have as competent people over at the FTC. And so once again, I said this, and they're saying this in the article as well, Microsoft will be able to use the commission statement in court if it comes to that. And I do believe that they're going to be going to court, and I do believe that Microsoft wins here. But I have to point out, guys, that I do have a position in Activision. I've had one since May or April, I guess. And so I am biased when it comes to my perspective on wanting this case to go through or wanting the acquisition to go through, because I stand to make money on the close of this acquisition. And so overall, I still think that there's a long road in order for this acquisition to get closed. I don't think that it gets closed in 2023, which was the original hopes that it would get closed. And so let's see what happens in 2023. I think that, the stock might actually run up in 2023 as we get indications that the FTC is expected to back off. We'll see how this plans out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think that this transaction will go through, or do you think that the FTC has a case here and they're going to block it? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll respond to your comments as I respond to everyone's comments. Now, the other thing is, I recently put out a video on what I expect the market to do in 2023 and how I'm responding to that. And so if you haven't seen that video, click right here.